guys, so for my Illustrator project I did Sophie Blackall. So just a little bit of background knowledge about her. She is actually from Australia, and then in 2000 she moved to New York, and then in 2002 was when her first book where she was an illustrator was published, and that was Ruby's Wish. And then another thing about her is that she's actually a self-taught artist. She did go to the University of Technology in Sydney, but they only taught her how to design things. They didn't really teach her drawing. And then probably what she's most known for is that she was a 2016 Caldecott winner for Finding Winnie, the True Story of the World's Most Famous Bear. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about her use of the elements of art. So here's just a couple of pictures. So for line, she uses a lot of two-dimensional lines, and she does a lot of straight and sometimes curved lines. So like you can see on this fence, there's like some curved lines, but then all the other lines are pretty much straight throughout this. And then space and form, I kind of just meshed these two together because I found a lot of similarities between them. So her shapes and her form, she usually keeps it two-dimensional, and she has a lot of height and width, but like very little to no depth because she does, like I said, keep it pretty two-dimensional. And then her shape forms, that she uses are organic and geometric. So organic is things that you would find in nature, so like leaves, flowers, vines, things like that. And geometric shapes are things like man-made, so like triangles, rectangles, squares, circles, and things like that. And then value, so Sophie uses a lot of watercolors, so a lot of her illustrations are very light. So when I was looking this up, it said that it was called middle gray to light. So unless she's obviously using a black color, obviously that's going to be more on the black side, but usually middle gray or light. And then for space, she uses a lot of illusions to create that space with her illustration. So things like size or placement and like just perspective to give that space to a 2D surface. So with this picture right here, you can tell that she did a very obvious size differentiation between the man and then the bear. So you can just tell. And then again with the size difference between the lighthouse and the waves. So then color, when I was looking this up, it said that color was made up of 3 properties: hue, value, and intensity. And like I said before, she does use a lot of watercolors, so the hues are very pastel. The value, again, the middle gray to light because of the watercolors, and they kind of aren't as bright or as vibrant. And then the intensity, again, very low because of the watercolors. So using watercolor yellow versus using a marker that's yellow, you wouldn't get as bright as a color. So for my 5 books that I picked were Ruby's Wish, Finding Winnie, the True Story of the World's Most Famous Bear, The Big Red Lollipop, A Voyage in the Clouds, the mostly true story of the first international flight by balloon in 1785, and Hello, Lighthouse, which she actually illustrated and was the author of as well. So how I would implement these books into my classroom is I would choose not necessarily these 5 since she has illustrated over 30 books, but just any 5 of her books, and I would read them to my class, and then I would give my class a piece of paper and a pencil and tell them that they could either use a marker, crayons, or colored pencils to create a drawing, and then I would tell them to recreate that same drawing but then only give them watercolor so they could compare and contrast the 2 mediums.